The way to practice and learn piano. You're probably familiar with the concept of slow practice, right? Teachers often advise you to practice slowly, and you'll find many people online echoing the same advice. But do you truly understand the essence of slow practice? Is your slow practice really effective or efficient? Does slow practice simply mean playing slowly, and that's all it takes to improve? How slow is slow enough? What kind of results should you aim for to consider your slow practice effective? And what sets slow practice in piano apart from taking things slowly in other activities? With these questions in mind, let's dive into today's topic: what makes slow practice most effective? And how can you avoid falling into the trap of slow practice? Let me start with a story. There were two individuals, let's call them A and B. They both went to their teacher for lessons and were informed that a particular piece of music had numerous issues. Wrong notes, incorrect rhythm, improper phrasing in some passages, as well as adjustments needed for tone and expression. There was also a lack of contrast between the hands that needed addressing, among other issues. Faced with these challenges, the students felt quite distressed. Their teacher advised them to practice slowly. So, when A practiced, he indeed slowed down significantly from his usual pace. But where he's unfamiliar, he's still breaking. He couldn't understand why, despite the slower tempo, he still couldn't improve. What frustrated him the most was his inability to slow down further. Doing so made it seem like he couldn't hear the melody or control the speed and rhythm, leaving him unsure of what he was playing. Even at the reduced speed, he couldn't address all the issues. Even if he managed to master one hand, he often neglected the other. A thought, maybe I should focus on one thing at a time, solve one problem after another. That should lead to improvement, right? But soon he realized that even by addressing one issue at a time, subsequent errors seemed harder to correct. He had become so accustomed to his previous playing style that changing it became increasingly difficult. Despite spending a considerable amount of time, he couldn't achieve the desired progress. So, what did he do wrong? Let's see how B approached slow practice. Like A, B began by practicing each hand separately at an extremely slow pace. Then, he painstakingly practiced at an even slower pace, ensuring he could meet all the requirements. Initially, maybe only 1 out of 10 attempts met the standard. However, with each repeated attempt and the slow tempo, the frequency of success increased. With continued practice, he gradually became accustomed to the correct sensation, growing more proficient as he progressed. In the end, he achieved his goal through consistent and deliberate practice. Through the practice processes of these two individuals, what insights can we gain? Do we also make A's mistake? In fact, the reason A wasted effort is that he failed to recognize the fundamental difference between playing the piano and other activities. It's entirely different from the common saying of focusing on one thing at a time. Playing the piano inherently involves multitasking. In the context of time, we can't separate elements like pitch, rhythm, and phrasing, etc. Playing the piano is fundamentally different from other activities. For example, when you're making a cake, you can work on one decoration at a time, gradually adding more without affecting what you've already done. As long as you've done each decoration right, then your cake will be finished with high quality. However, this isn't the case with playing the piano. When writing a document, you can first focus on content and then on formatting, without impacting the content. Each subsequent task enhances the previous one. But why doesn't this apply to piano practice? Because practicing the piano is about gradual proficiency. As I mentioned earlier, each element can't be isolated. If you adopt a logic of focusing on one thing at a time, unresolved issues will become more ingrained with practice, making them harder to change. Therefore, slow practice on the piano isn't simply about reducing speed. It means slowing down enough to address all requirements. If you can't go slower, it reflects a lack of adaptability to tempo, which needs separate training. If we must compare piano practice to something, it's like cooking. We add various seasonings at the beginning, and as cooking progresses, flavors meld into the ingredients. But if we cook the ingredients first, and then add seasonings, it's challenging to integrate the flavors. So, you'll find that slow practice is akin to the cooking process. I hope every piano student can grasp the essence of slow practice, making your practice more efficient.